A quick new idea daily from the world's greatest TEDx talks. I'm your host, Atosa Leone, and this is TEDx Shorts. What would get more people to pay attention to the staggering income inequality that exists in our communities? Sociologist Dr. Jonathan Mesh thinks that it's a border issue, not just in the physical sense, but in the social and economic sense as well. The more distance between the rich and poor, the less we see and care about inequality. In today's talk, Jonathan shares how and why we need to cross these frontiers to challenge the deep inequities in our societies.
Ours is a deeply unequal society. The level of income inequality today we haven't seen since the Great Depression of the 1920s and 30s. What's striking, however, is that despite all this attention to inequality, people really aren't that worried about it. So my academic research at LSE and Harvard University is an attempt to solve this puzzle. I draw on existing sources and collect new data to describe the way that people perceive, experience, and explain inequalities in income and wealth. So there's two parts to the puzzle of why people aren't as worried as we may expect them to be. The first part is that most people are unaware of the scope of inequality. We all know there's inequality, but many of us underestimate its extent. Now, the second part of the puzzle is a little trickier. When people hear about inequality, they have bolstered the belief that economic success simply reflects hard work and effort, and that the wealthy merit their wealth because it's their hard-earned money. If we turn back once more to the record of public opinion, we can see an uncanny correlation between inequality and belief in meritocracy. So what is it about these unequal places that makes people more believing in meritocracy? To understand, we need to see the social transformation that has accompanied the rise in inequality. Economic inequality has come to reshape the social landscape. Today, how much money you make means so much more than just a number on your bank account. Your income has come to determine where you live and where your children go to school. We find friends almost exclusively in our own social circles. We date people with similar levels of education and income. And when we have children, we rarely do so with someone outside of our social class. Meanwhile, we spend our days working in a stratified labor market. It is increasingly rare to work with others who don't have our level of education. Those people now work at the other end of the labor market, in workplaces much different from ours. In short, social borders are separating the lives of the rich and poor. It distorts our worldview. The spatial and social borders that separate us have become a cognitive border as well. Neither the rich nor poor can see the lives lived on the other side of that border. Consequently, we come to take for granted the advantages and disadvantages that come with our family and with the place where we grew up. We praise ourselves for our successes, and we internalize our failures. Simultaneously, our sympathy for those in need is limited by the sense that they perhaps just didn't work as hard as we did. All of this has an important political implication. It means that both the rich and poor underestimate the size of the gap that separates them. Because how could they see the true extent of inequality if we cannot look past our own social circles? We cannot see the world for what it is. And there we have the answer to the puzzle. If we want to develop a better understanding of the world we live in, we need to cross borders. Imagine a different world. A world where where you live, who you work with, and who your friends are is unrelated to how much money you make. A world where nobody has to tell you about inequality because you know people from all walks of life. You know how some had it easier than others. You've experienced the importance as well as the limits of hard work. You know how circumstance impacts our lives. That is the source of your solidarity with others, your empathy. If we want a more equal society, a place that benefits everyone, we need to first see the unequal world for what it is.
The TEDx talk you just listened to was recorded in London, England. All TEDx events are independently organized by volunteers who believe in TED's mission of ideas worth spreading. Special thanks to the organizing team at TEDx London. Want to listen to more TEDx talks? Explore the entire archive on the TEDx YouTube channel. I'm Atosa Leone. Thanks for listening, and see you tomorrow.